Imagine walking out into your backyard on a quiet, dew-kissed morning. The air is cool, the scent of fresh pine and wet soil hangs sweet in the breeze, and the garden you have spent months, perhaps years, nurturing is in full, glorious bloom. You step onto the path, bare feet, pressing into the soft earth, feeling completely at peace in the sanctuary you have built with your own hands. But beneath the lush green leaves, nestled deep within the damp, quiet shadows of your favorite plants, something else is resting. It is silent, perfectly camouflaged, and waiting. Its cold, unblinking eyes watch the rhythmic vibration of your footsteps, tracking your movement with primal precision. This is not a scene from a nature documentary. It is the daily reality for thousands of homeowners who have unknowingly turned their pristine yards into premium snake habitats. Most of us design our gardens for beauty, color, and texture. We plant sprawling ground covers to choke out weeds, thick shrubs to create elegant privacy borders, and tall ornamental grasses to add motion and grace to our landscapes. We look at these botanical choices and see an aesthetic triumph. But a snake looks at these exact same plants and sees a perfect survival matrix. Snakes do not care about the beauty of your garden, nor do they want to eat your prize-winning hostas. They are driven entirely by three simple primal needs: temperature regulation, physical protection from predators, and a reliable food supply. Unfortunately, the very plants we love the most are engineered by nature to deliver all three of these requirements on a silver platter. As cold-blooded, ectothermic creatures, snakes cannot generate their own body heat. Their entire lives are governed by a delicate, life-or-death dance with the elements. If they stay in the direct sun for too long during the heat of summer, their organs will cook from the inside out. If they remain exposed in the open, they become an easy target for hawks, owls, foxes, or domestic pets. They must find microclimates, hidden, insulated pockets of space where the temperature remains perfectly stable, the soil stays damp, and the canopy overhead shields them from the sharp eyes of predators. When we plant dense, low-growing vegetation right up against our home's foundation along our walking paths and around our patios, we are building a luxury, climate-controlled habitat for wild reptiles. Let us begin with the first plant on our list, a classic choice that blankets millions of suburban yards across the country: English ivy. To the untrained eye, English ivy is the epitome of classic rustic garden charm. It climbs brick walls with historic elegance and forms a lush, evergreen carpet over bare dirt where grass refuses to grow. But beneath that beautiful, glossy green facade lies a dark, wet world. English ivy grows by weaving a dense, multi-layered lattice of thick, woody vines. This living blanket completely blocks out the sun, preventing air circulation and trapping evaporation directly against the dirt. If you were to peel back a patch of mature English ivy, you would immediately feel a dramatic drop in temperature. It is cool, dark, and permanently humid. For a snake trying to escape the blistering summer sun, this is paradise. The danger of English ivy goes far deeper than just comfortable shade. This humid, sheltered undergrowth is a biological magnet for earthworms, beetles, slugs, and snails. These invertebrates draw in frogs, toads, lizards, and field mice. Suddenly, that beautiful patch of ivy alongside your walkway is no longer just a decorative ground cover. It has become a fully functioning, self-sustaining ecosystem. It is a highly active wildlife buffet with built-in, impenetrable shelter. When you step near the edge of an ivy bed, you are placing your feet directly alongside a hidden hunting ground where predators glide silently through the tangled vines, completely invisible from above. Have you ever cleared a patch of overgrown ivy and felt that sudden cold shiver down your spine, wondering what might be sliding away just out of sight? Many gardeners have reached their bare hands into these thick green mats, only to pull back in absolute terror as the leaves began to rustle with dry, heavy motion. This brings us directly to our second hidden hazard, a plant that is frequently used to line the very paths we walk on every single day: Liriope, commonly known as monkey grass. Homeowners absolutely love Liriope because of its neat clumping habit. It stays low, requires almost no maintenance, and creates a beautifully defined grass-like border along walkways, driveways, and flower beds. It seems completely harmless. But let us look at the structure of this plant through the eyes of a hunting reptile. Liriope grows in dense, heavy tufts of long, strap-like leaves that arch gracefully outward. As these clumps mature, the outer leaves drape over one another, creating a thick, overlapping dome. The base of the plant becomes a tightly tangled, dark chamber that holds morning dew and irrigation water for hours, if not days. Because Liriope is almost always planted in continuous, unbroken lines along concrete walkways, it creates a hidden highway. Snakes are highly vulnerable when crossing open surfaces, like concrete or short lawns, because they are exposed to hawks and other predators. To minimize this risk, they slide parallel to your concrete paths, tucked tightly inside the thick, overhanging canopy of your monkey grass. They can travel the entire length of your driveway, patio, or front walk without ever exposing a single inch of their scales to the open sky. You could be walking down your path, carrying groceries or walking your pet, completely unaware that just 2 inches to your right, a wild snake is resting silently in the Liriope, utilizing the damp shade of your border plant to cool its body. The emotional weight of realizing that our personal sanctuaries, the places where our children play and our pets roam, can secretly harbor these hidden dangers is incredibly heavy. We plant these gardens to find peace, yet a simple design mistake can shatter that peace in an instant. But remember, knowledge is our greatest tool. By understanding the physical architecture of these plants, we can take back control of our yards, ensuring they remain spaces of pure joy and safety. If you are ready for this epic journey, drop a comment telling me where in the world you are watching from, hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss more of our upcoming videos. As we move deeper into our landscapes, away from narrow borders and creeping ground covers, we encounter the larger structural plants that anchor our garden beds. These are the shrubs and ornamental features we choose to give our yards a sense of permanence, maturity, and year-round color. Yet, it is precisely this structural size and density that elevates the risk from a passing visitor to a permanent resident hazard. When a plant offers year-round shelter, it ceases to be a temporary resting spot and instead becomes a green fortress, a sanctuary where a snake can establish a permanent territory right under your nose. Consider the low-growing juniper shrub, a beloved staple of suburban landscaping. We plant junipers for their rugged durability, their striking blue-green hues, and their ability to blanket difficult slopes with evergreen texture. But beneath that dense, prickly exterior lies one of the most secure reptilian dens imaginable. Junipers grow with heavy, sprawling branches that sweep low, directly touching the soil. This structural growth forms an impenetrable canopy that completely shades the ground beneath. Over years of growth, the inner branches shed thousands of sharp, acidic needles, creating a thick, dry, highly insulated carpet on the soil floor. This layer of dead debris remains remarkably dry and warm, even during heavy rainstorms, providing a highly stable microclimate. This structural security is further enhanced by an ecological loop that many homeowners completely overlook. An analysis of common yard pests reveals a massive warning about plants that secretly harbor pests like ticks, rats, and mice. Junipers are notorious for this exact issue. The dense, protected interior of a juniper bed is a haven for small rodents searching for nesting material. They build their nests in the dry, needle-littered ground, protected from the rain and wind. At the same time, this dense brush is a prime habitat for ticks, which cling to the low branches, waiting for a passing host. To a snake, this is not just a thermal shelter. It is a highly active, self-replenishing hunting ground. The presence of mice and rats sends a chemical signal through the air, drawing predatory snakes directly to the base of your shrubs. Furthermore, the sharp, prickly needles of the juniper, which keep humans and domestic dogs at bay, pose absolutely no obstacle to a snake. A snake's durable, overlapping scales allow it to glide effortlessly through the sharpest briars and thorns without sustaining a single scratch. While your dog might sniff the edge of the bush and pull back whimpering from the sharp needles, a snake can rest comfortably in the very center of the shrub, entirely protected from the outside world. It is a visceral, unsettling thought. The very shrub planting you placed next to your front porch to add curb appeal could be acting as a secure, heavily fortified nursery for the local reptile population. Have you ever noticed your pets showing a sudden intense interest in a particular shrub, sniffing frantically at the base but refusing to reach their noses inside? If the juniper is the evergreen fortress of the garden, then tall ornamental grasses are the ultimate camouflage screens. Species like pampas grass, miscanthus, and feather reed grass have skyrocketed in popularity, offering modern elegance, privacy, and a beautiful whispering sound as they sway in the autumn wind. But the unique growth cycle of these grasses makes them exceptionally dangerous. As ornamental grass grows year after year, it expands outward from the center. Over time, the older inner core of the plant dies back, while the new growth continues to push up around the perimeter. This natural process creates a hollow, dome-like chamber at the very center of the grass clump, completely hidden by the tall, arching blades on the outside. This hollow center is a 5-star wilderness retreat. It is completely shielded from wind, rain, and solar heat, keeping the internal temperature highly stable. Snakes can enter and exit these grassy chambers through small, imperceptible openings at the base, moving through your yard like ghosts. But there is another, more unsettling reason snakes are drawn to these grasses. To grow, a snake must periodically shed its old outgrown skin. To do this successfully, it needs a rough, abrasive surface to snag the loose edges of its scales and help pull the old skin off like a discarded sock. The sharp, silicon-fused edges of ornamental grass blades are perfect for this process. A snake will weave its body tightly through the dense, coarse blades, using the physical friction to peel away its old casing. Discovering a perfectly intact, translucent snake skin tangled in your garden is a sobering experience that shifts your relationship with your yard instantly. It is a tangible, undeniable reminder that a silent creature is sharing your space, moving through the very areas where you walk, play, and relax. If you have ever uncovered one of these ghostly skins wrapped around the base of your grasses or tucked inside your garden borders. Finally, we must address the absolute favorite of shade gardeners everywhere, the hosta. With their massive, lush, overlapping leaves, hostas are unmatched in their ability to bring vibrant color and life to the darkest corners of our yards. We plant them beneath mature trees, along shaded decks, and around north-facing foundations, creating cool, serene retreats. But this beautiful, umbrella-like structure is precisely what makes them a prime snake magnet. The broad leaves of a hosta drape low to the ground, casting deep, solid shadows and trapping ground humidity. This creates a highly localized, high-humidity microclimate that is completely shielded from the dry summer wind. This wet, shaded environment is a biological goldmine for amphibians, particularly frogs and toads, which require constant moisture to survive. Toads love to bury themselves in the loose, damp soil beneath hosta leaves during the heat of the day. But toads and frogs are the primary prey for garter snakes, ribbon snakes, and juvenile copperheads. By planting vast, contiguous beds of hostas right against your patio or walkway, you are structurally setting up a high-volume ecological trap. The moisture draws the amphibians draw the snakes, and the dense, overlapping leaves provide the perfect cover for the predator to lie in wait. The transition from appreciation to caution is a vital step in becoming a truly mindful, safe gardener. We do not have to live in fear of our yards, but we must strip away the dangerous illusions of safety that certain plant choices provide. By recognizing these hidden structural traps, we can begin to make smarter, more intentional design decisions that protect our loved ones while preserving the natural beauty of our outdoor spaces. We have explored sprawling ground covers and hollow ornamental grasses, but our journey into the hidden landscape of fear continues as we turn our focus toward the classic woody shrubs and fruiting plants that anchor our property lines. Consider the azalea bush. Beloved for its explosive, vibrant spring blooms that paint our neighborhoods in brilliant shades of pink, purple, and white, the azalea is a staple of almost every suburban landscape. But beneath that spectacular crown of flowers lies a tight, low-growing, and highly complex branch structure that creates a dark, protected dome directly at the soil level. In the scorching heat of summer, this wooden canopy remains remarkably cool, insulated, and shaded. Furthermore, as azaleas shed their leaves, a thick, decaying layer of organic leaf litter collects directly at the base of the shrub. This rotting debris becomes a thriving, humid nursery for spiders, beetles, and crickets, which in turn draw in hungry frogs, toads, and lizards. To a snake, a mature azalea bush is not just a temporary resting spot. It is a highly secure, dual-purpose shelter and feeding zone where it can remain completely invisible for days at a time, right alongside your front porch or walkway. Next, we must examine the holly bush. Renowned for its rich, glossy evergreen leaves and festive winter berries, holly is frequently planted as a natural security barrier due to its notoriously sharp, thorny foliage. While humans, deer, and common domestic pets steer clear of these painful prickles, snakes glide effortlessly through them. A snake's thick, interlocking scales are completely impervious to the sharpest thorns, allowing them to nestle comfortably in the very heart of the bush. In fact, the physical protection of a holly bush makes it one of the safest sanctuaries a snake can find, as birds of prey, coyotes, and neighborhood cats cannot penetrate the thorny barrier to reach them. Even more concerning, the bright red berries produced by holly bushes in the fall attract a constant stream of songbirds and small mammals like mice and squirrels. To a hungry snake, a mature holly bush is a highly active, self-replenishing bird and rodent feeder with an impenetrable physical defense system built right in. From the protected heights of a holly, a snake can strike silently at its prey, while you walk past, completely unaware of the drama unfolding just behind the leaves. This dynamic of dangerous cover extends to the ground level with vinca, also known as periwinkle. This fast-spreading, trailing evergreen ground cover carpets the soil in a thick, uniform layer of dark green leaves and delicate purple flowers. Because vinca spreads so aggressively, it creates massive, unbroken stretches of ground-level canopy across your garden beds. This allows snakes to travel vast distances across your yard, sliding from the forest edge directly to your patio, without ever exposing a single inch of their bodies to the open sky. The permanently damp, shaded soil beneath the vinca blanket is also the perfect habitat for slugs and amphibians. If you have noticed an abundance of frogs or toads near your periwinkle beds, you are likely looking at an active reptilian hunting ground. While living plants present massive risks, some of the most powerful snake attractants in our yards are the non-living organic materials we use to nourish them. Deeply mulched garden beds and active compost piles create an almost irresistible environment for wild reptiles. Mulch and compost are designed to retain soil moisture and heat, but as they decompose, they undergo an active microbial process that actually generates physical warmth. In the cool, unpredictable days of early spring, when cold-blooded snakes are emerging from their winter dormancy, they desperately search for external sources of heat to jumpstart their sluggish metabolisms. The warm, soft depths of a fresh mulch bed or a compost heap are absolutely perfect for this. Furthermore, decomposing organic matter draws in massive populations of earthworms, pillbugs, and grubs, which quickly attract rodents and amphibians. For a snake, a warm mulch bed is both a cozy thermal blanket and a fully stocked kitchen. This dynamic is magnified when we introduce brambles like blackberry and raspberry canes. These wild or cultivated fruiting plants form incredibly dense, tangled, and thorny thickets that are physically impossible for humans or predators to clear. The abundant sweet summer fruit draws in a non-stop parade of birds, mice, and chipmunks. Snakes slide into these thorny fortresses, completely protected from the sun and predators, while feast after feast literally walks right into their mouths. If you grow fresh berries in your yard, how do you protect your harvest from these hidden predators? Hit that like button and share your berry patch experiences with our community. Our final 3 hazards represent some of the most common ornamental choices in modern landscaping. Let us look at daylilies. Planted in large, dense clusters, daylilies are favored for their bright, cheerful summer blooms. However, daylily foliage grows rapidly, and as the older leaves naturally die back each season, they collapse to the ground, creating a thick, matted layer of dead, yellowing plant material at the base. This heavy buildup of dead foliage holds moisture like a sponge, creating an incredibly humid, hidden pocket close to the soil where snakes can easily hide. In the bright sun, a completely different hazard emerges with sedum stonecrop. These low-growing, succulent ground covers thrive in full, direct sunlight. While sedum itself does not attract a large prey base, it creates a thick, fleshy mat in the warmest areas of your yard. Cold-blooded snakes utilize these sunny mats as premium basking platforms, positioning themselves just under the edge of the succulent leaves to absorb the solar warmth while remaining largely out of sight of passing hawks. And finally, we must look at the classic garden fern. In the deepest, darkest shade of our yards, spreading varieties like the ostrich fern or autumn fern create a lush, feathery canopy close to the ground. The constant soil moisture and heavy shade beneath these delicate fronds create a highly humid microclimate that is highly attractive to salamanders, frogs, and earthworms. Because of this, fern beds are often the most active, high-traffic snake zones in a shaded landscape. If you have ferns growing near your patio or deck, you might be providing the ultimate cool retreat for the local reptile population. Which of these final plants surprised you the most? Drop a comment below and tell us which of these plants you have growing right now. Your insights help us all garden smarter, safer, and with true confidence.